Well, I'd like to welcome you to the Suggsview. Top 10 Real Ghostbusters episodes. Real bustin' episodes. Go bustin' episodes. Real bustin' Ghostbusters.
A baseball episode? A Real Ghostbusters baseball episode? What the hell are you talking about, Josh? First you're talking about the Ghostbusters appearance. It's so cool. Now you're talking about the Ghostbusters in a baseball episode? A sports-themed episode? It's actually an awesome episode. Number 5 is an episode called Night Game. And man, oh man, it was in the running for number 1. But the fact that it's a sports episode, not that I don't like baseball, I really do. I have an Expos hat, got my Expos ball right there. I got a New York Yankees and a Boston Red Sox hat up there. What the hell is wrong with you, John? But I don't think the best Real Ghostbusters episode is a baseball episode. But there's something cool about this episode because it really does focus on Winston and the powers, the forces of good. It's a really interesting episode, actually. So what happens is Winston wants to go to a baseball game. He's inviting the boys, and the boys don't really want to go. And finally, Ray says, "Well, who are you gonna watch? The Yankees? You're gonna see a Mets game?" And Winston's just like, Jaguars game. So apparently in the Ghostbusters reality, New York has actually 3 professional baseball teams, but they got the New York Jaguars, who are a crappy team, who have a crappy stadium. No one really goes. There's a man sleeping at the game. I don't know why you'd buy a ticket or pay for a ticket just to sleep during a baseball game, but it's up to you. So Winston decides to take Slimer. He sort of swindles Slimer into coming because he promises Slimer some hot dogs, all those things you get at the ballpark.
All the hot dogs you can eat.
And while they're there, some supernatural things, some supernatural baseball moments happen. There's some crazy lights and some cool things happen with the ball, and the guys don't believe him because they're all Winston could say definitively was there was a drop fly ball.
That's not much to go on, Winston.
A Jag player dropping a pop fly isn't exactly a supernatural event.
Now, if he caught the ball.
What's abnormal about a crappy player on a crappy team, dropping a fly ball? So Winston's, he's certain there's something going on here. He goes back later that night on his own, and while he's there, crazy stuff, like all these ghosts, these neon-colored ghosts, but actually really well animated, all start emerging from the pitcher's mound of all places. And what we later come to find out is that every year on the same location in New York, not every year, every so many years, there's a battle between the forces of good and evil. And they gave Winston the chance to be a part of this battle. And the battle always sort of reflects their surroundings, or reflects sort of, I guess, from what I take of it, is the technology of the time. So I picture when it happened in the 40s, it was like a World War II style battle. And before that, it was like 1800s, it was like a muskets, style battle. Like British troops all in a line. I have no clue. They didn't say. I just came up with this myself. So because it's a baseball diamond now, the battle between good and evil is a baseball game. So, Winston's in there, and there's this ballpark attendant who let him in, and when the shit starts going down, he goes and calls the real Ghostbusters.
Hello, Ghostbusters?
And when they show up, they have to blast through. There's this force field, this crazy force field around the ballpark. They blast through and they jump in. And I know that sounds kind of cheesy, but it's actually really cool. It's basically just a baseball game, and they're playing for a human soul. And you have to decide if you're on the side of good or on the side of evil. There's this whole very cool notion that evil cheats and is allowed to cheat because it's so ingrained in evil, but good can't cheat. And the boys have to struggle with that one because they are a neutral party, except no one can be neutral in the battle between good and evil. And we're moving on. Number 4, Lost and Foundry. Play on words. So Lost and Foundry is an episode about the boys are at this foundry, I guess. I forget what, like the steel production place. And they're chasing this actually really cool looking red ghost, vicious kind of ghost looking guy. And he gets dropped in this like big vat of like molten, like it looks like lava or like fiery, I don't know how else to put it, lava. I don't know exactly the process of making metal into different things on a large scale. Can metal be melted down into a liquid substance? It can, but is that, I have no clue. But like there's this giant vat of this boiling hot, just whatever. So the ghost gets, it drops in there and starts to inhabit all the metal that is produced at this factory. So what happens next is the steel that was inhabited by this ghost is actually manufactured into products and things and makes its way into New York City, where it starts coming alive, and you know the Ghostbusters are called in each instance to investigate. The first being a fridge at an appliances store that comes alive and just wanders off, and then some like telephone or like TV cable or like electrician guys who are setting up some wire, you know, that the wire then starts attacking them, and it escapes after the Ghostbusters get there, and then some nails, some Ghostbusters are called in to investigate some bizarre nails that are just like fly through the window of the store, and just while they happen to be there, right across the road is a supermarket where these steel cans have come alive, and they're flying all around and craziness, and then we cut to an art museum, maybe the MoMA, maybe the Met.
This new sculpture explores an expanded modality of expression, which I call anti-neo-postmodernism. I think you'll agree the effect can be startling.
And then the Ghostbusters are called in to investigate some bizarre things with some steel girders where this new building is being erected. And these girders, you know, they've come alive, and the whole building starts coming down because these girders have like left their spot. It's like Jenga. You pull out that wrong, you know, that piece of wood, and and everything's coming crashing down, kind of thing. And they run off, and then finally, the Ghostbusters had ordered a new fire pole at some point in this episode, and while Peter's sliding down it, he gets stuck, which makes no sense, but it's a ghost fire pole, and it goes crazy, and he's spinning around, and he gets all sick and everything, and that fire pole escapes. But that's the thing that gets the Ghostbusters to go, wait a sec, maybe we should follow these things and see where they go. Thus, the Ghostbusters end up in New Jersey, where all of these steel products have coalesced, come together, if you will, in a scrapyard in New Jersey. And that scrapyard is where an epic battle, the final boss battle, if you will, actually takes place. And it's just a great culmination to this episode. Number 3 is the Burb of Kildarby. The bird of Kildarby. It's this guy right here. So it starts with the mayor of New York. I think they're in Central Park, and and he is doing an opening ceremony for this castle, this freaking castle that's all of a sudden in New York City, in the middle of New York City. There's no castle in New York City, let alone in the middle of this lake. It's not a lake, but this body of water. And I guess what happened is Wanna Applegate the Twain, who's a big philanthropist, not the kingpin, not Wilskin, who had it brought over from Scotland, brick by brick. My ass, that happened. No. But, of course, the castle is haunted, and it's haunted by thousands. Like, literally thousands. And, they send Peter O. Venkman in.
Oh, just a neighbor. I like to meet new people on the block, tell them where the drugstore is, cheap video rentals, that sort of stuff. Name's O. Venkman.
Just craziness ensues, and this giant red bird is released in New York. This giant ghost bird, rips the shit out of some shit. It does some damage. So definitely check out the Better Kill Derby. Number 2, The Collect Call of Cthulhu, which is a really freaking cool episode because it harkens back to, one theme that I brought up earlier, which is the old ones. And, one that is part of real mythical lore or whatever, H.P. Lovecraft, Cthulhu. And that's freaking cool. Cthulhu. Yeah. So essentially Cthulhu is this giant monster, Godzilla, esque, size-wise at least, monster. And it looks like this giant beast with a head that's like an octopus and then a body that's like 1,000 octopi. And it's really freaking cool. So the episode starts out at the New York City Library, with those lions out front that, come alive at different times over the years. They come alive randomly. And the library has a special showcase, or they're showcasing the Necronomicon, not a convention, a book, a real book, I think. I think it's a book from reality. A very, very powerful book that sends their PKE meters off the scale, like crazy PKE energy readings.
You're getting high paranormal readings.
It's stolen. Thus brings in the Real Ghostbusters, and they follow that PKE reading into the sewers where they find some of the spawn of Cthulhu, which they can't defeat. They can't capture these things. Their guns, their throwers, if you will, don't actually do anything to them. So they have to run away, and they really just have to do their research. They have to put, Thing and 4 together and see what happens. So they go up to Gotham, Massachusetts. Is that a real place? Oh, I'll have to do a little research to see a real place. Scrolly if it is. And they meet this doctor who Peter, sort of becomes smitten with, and she's really knowledgeable of the Necronomicon and the powers held within, and she helps the Ghostbusters throughout this episode. So it turns out the cult of Cthulhu, which is, a real thing, like real people are part of this cult, are trying to summon Cthulhu back into the world. And of course, because it's once every 1,000 years when the stars and the moon align, that Cthulhu can actually be called collect. Back into our reality, Cthulhu looks great. The spawn of Cthulhu look great. There's another bigger Cthulhu spawn. The cult members have this very cool garb. Yeah, it's just a really well done episode, and we're moving on. Number 1, Drool. the dog-faced gremlin. Nope, Drool, the dog-faced goblin. The Ghostbusters are in the Poconos, the mountain region, New York State, somewhere. It just seems like somewhere really creepy where Stephen King might hang out or something. And they go because they hear there's this sideshow, this carnival kind of thing, sideshow, I don't know what to call it, you know, that has a real life
Goblin?
Nah, no way. It's gotta be bogus. How could a sleazy 2-bit operation like this contain a real goblin?
It does, and it's not cute, but like, you know, it's this little goblin who's part of the show, but the Ghostbusters are like, okay, like, something's going on here, and they try to blast him, but,
Lady!
you know, the lady who owns the sideshow, or runs the sideshow, gets in the way, and, you know, really says, like, this goblin's a nice guy, he's a good guy, he's just here, he's part of our show, we're his friends, kind of thing, and going, what the hell is, like, they're driving away, and, you know, they left the goblin there, they, you know, they're nice guys, and they're driving back to, like, their hotel, or the little town they're gonna be staying in, at least for the night, and they get attacked by what they pretty much think is a goblin. You know, this goblin playing tricks on them, tricks that involve high electricity, and, you know, some very dangerous things are happening, but very creepily, like, it's just, you don't see, all you see initially of this goblin. So they go back to the hotel, and, you know, some very bizarre things are happening, some very bizarre, oh my god, some very bizarre things are happening, you know, at this cat shows up that is barking like a dog, and this giant dog shows up that's meowing like a cat. Peter turns on a shower in his hotel room, and it looks like blood, but it's like tomato soup. And the next day, it's like all goblin craziness breaks loose, starts to hail, and the hail turns to like what look like little crackers or something. Weird line happens.
It's hominy grits.
Okay, boss, on the bike.
It's just like they have to battle it in its different forms, much like Dragon Ball Z, like the Cell Saga or the Frieza Saga. So the one form is like a goblin, goblin cockroach, this giant cockroach, and of course they send Peter in to get it. And one of the scariest scenes, I think, in all of the show, but just the form the goblin takes, it's like a Grim Reaper goblin. Those red eyes and these little tusks, and like, don't watch the movie, maybe watch the movie Tusk. Johnny Depp, your French-Canadian accent, like, they're in this clothing store where they're hiding from it. It was outside in this 3-headed form. Like, it has all these faces growing out of its face and these heads, and, like, it's just disgusting. It really is disgusting. Back at the carnival, the sideshow, and you see it in its final form. This is one of the funniest, scariest, and most novel episodes that I think the Real Ghostbusters ever did. You know, nostalgia just plays such a hand in what we love and why we love it, and how we can, you know, sort of ignore how crappy it really is, or, you know, not see that side of things. So I really hope you guys enjoyed the top 10. I hope you check out some of these episodes. You know, I'm sure I'll scroll at some point through this episode, or at some point I'll do something about some of the other episodes, or just about the Real Ghostbusters in general. But until then, I hope y'all enjoyed. Thank you for joining me in my humble abode. As always, I'm Suggs, and I'll see y'all later.
Here we go. I'll get up there when it's my turn. Take my swing at that.